So here's an interesting question. Could Reach from Halo repel an Orc WAAAGH? And not just any Orc WAAAGH, Gazgathal's WAAAGH. So, yeah, this is going to be a fun what-if scenario. So I hope you all enjoy it. So obviously we knew that Reach was one of the most, if not the most important planet in the Halo universe. And when it fell, basically that was just the most deflating thing within the UNSC, where it was a massive supply planet. It was a major manufacturing planet, and it was basically the homeworld for the Spartans. When that was gone, and the vast majority of the Spartans were wiped out, yeah, it looked pretty bad until Master Chief locked in and saved the universe. We don't talk about anything past 3 on this channel. Just saying. So, but what would it be like instead of the Covenant coming to Reach? What if it was Gazgathal and his WAAAGH? What would that be like? Like, what would that ensue in a all-out, no-holds-bar, just absolute war zone? So we're going to talk about that. Now, obviously, there are some major differences between the Covenant and an Orc WAAAGH. Obviously, an Orc WAAAGH is just there to fight. It isn't like with the Covenant, where at first the Covenant was more interested in trying to find relics. That's how the Spartans and UNSC were able to get so many wins until the actual Covenant fleet showed up. The entirety of the Covenant army showed up to stop playing around. That's not the case here with the Orcs. The Orcs here are coming for a fight. It's not like they're looking for anything. The only thing they're looking for is a fight. So, yeah, Gazgathal is going to bring the WAAAGH, and he is just going to be there to be like, can you boys bring a good fight? That's all we looking for. I love talking Orc, as bad as it is. So Gaz and the boys are going to just wreck house immediately. Now, the big thing, and now this can actually kind of help the UNSC and the Spartans in general. See, there isn't a lot of tactical planning when it comes to Orcs. It's just, there's the bad guys, we's gonna fight them. So the UNSC can actually, this is how, like, in the Imperium, this is how, like, Space Marines and soldiers of the Imperium are able to, like, sometimes get the best of Orcs, because there's no real plan to them. It's just numbers and pure size to them. It's more about, fighting. And yeah, the longer the Orcs fight, the stronger and the bigger and smarter they'll get. But for the most part, it's really more of a fight than anything else. So once the UNSC figures that out, they can actually start planning to be a little more tactical and, set up, like, different points. Also, we can have the full extension of the Spartans fighting rather than just noble team. Why? Because I doubt Oni is going to try to do the stupid thing of trying to kidnap a war boss to use as a bargaining chip. They'll probably realize after a few encounters with the Orcs is that Oni's just going to be like, oh, they're fucking stupid! Like, really stupid! Yeah, let's just turn the Spartans on them anyway. Now, the big thing is, obviously, with forces no longer being allocated to a dumb plan that wasn't going to work to begin with, you now have Spartans on the ground. Now, could a Spartan fight an Orc? I think it's possible, but again, this isn't like your fight with a Space Marine, or in the Spartans' case, this isn't like fighting a Covenant elite. These guys, both of them are going to be these big, bulky soldiers that could probably tank several hundred rounds before, well, depending on the gun, I should say. They can tank a lot of rounds before going down. So on top of that, you have to keep that in mind, that the Orcs are going to be doing their damnedest to just keep moving and constantly looking for the next big fight. And the Spartans and your basic your ODSTs, your basic soldiers, they're going to be trying to keep up because the Orcs move fast. That's the other thing, is that when Orcs get going on a planet, very little to stop them. And they're going to have, the other thing is, when a planet gets Orcs, you're not getting rid of Orcs. Because you just need to, I don't think the UNSC is going to realize burning the bodies is the only way to keep Orcs off Reach permanently. You're just going to have Orcs for the rest of, for the longest time. So the Orc supply train is kind of infinite, as opposed to Reach, where in here, Reach is basically they have to keep getting resupplied. Now, like I said, there's a big kind of difference between fighting the Covenant and fighting orcs. Covenant, I would imagine that since it's not with the Covenant, it had to be like we have to outsmart them, and by that point, the planet's lost. Gazgathol, the thing is, with most, and you can apply this to orc WAAAGHs in general, is that if you just hold out long enough, they're gonna get bored. Like like Gazgathol, that's what happened on Armageddon twice. Gazgathol just got bored because he was like, I hate this whole like standing and being tactical and stuff. And more than likely, Gork and Mork are just going to tell him, go fight somewhere else. I mean, again, Reach is going to have an orc problem regardless. You killed orcs, they're gonna be on there forever. But Gazgathol is just going to get bored and just tell the WAAAGH to go somewhere else. Like, we're just going to go to another planet, but we'll come back because you guys gave us enough of a fight. So that's how I see it. The other thing is that UNSC don't fight like the Imperium, where it's like, stand in a trench or, hold this position or move, it's your basic combat prowess, where it's more like depending on numbers. That's not the case with Reach, where at Reach, or excuse me, with the Imperium just depends on putting meat to a cannon and fire until that cannon's position is taken on top of mountains of bodies. Here it's a little different. Reach knows its numbers are finite, and they know how to fight. Remember, this is a major manufacturing planet within the UNSC, so they can supply, but their supplies are finite. It's more of, we got to hit these places fast. Here's where the orcs are holding us the most. That's where we got to hit. And I imagine Oni would be trying their damnedest to kill Gazgathol, because I think they would realize real fast Gazgathol's in charge. Like, once they figure out Gaz is the big guy, and they just follow the biggest orc, it would be, yeah, we kill him, it's over. It's not like where in Halo Reach, where they killed the one guy leading the expedition force. Keep in mind, it was an expeditionary force to Reach. They basically realized after killing him they thought it'd be over. Then guess what? The whole damn Covenant fleet showed up. Here it's different. Again, take out Gazgathol, or maybe take out some war bosses, or at the very least hold out. They're gonna leave. So it might be easier, but again, these are orcs we're talking about, where they're larger. It's like fighting an army of brutes. Brutes on steroids. Let me rephrase that. It's like, that's what it feels like when you're, that's how the best way I could describe it, where if you fought brutes who could like take tank ammunition like a hunter. Or it could be an army of hunters, depending on the size of the orcs. But again, and the armament that your basic UNS soldiers, ODST and Spartans aside, the big difference is that these forces, it isn't like firing a las gun where you can just probably pump a few rounds into your basic orc and they go down. Here, it's like you're going to probably use a whole clip to take and then reload. Fire that whole clip to take down one of the smaller boys. When they get bigger, it's a bigger story. It's a different story. The other thing that's going to work in the favor of Reach is that, again, orcs aren't going to be interested in allocating, looking for something or taking out supply lines or something. Orcs are going to go where the fight is. So that could easily work if Oni can figure that out and the UNSC High Command can figure that out. They'll just reallocate forces to pretend like they have a big army here, and on the other end you have ODST doing a behind the enemy line squad to probably take out a war boss or something, or take out like a Stompa or something. Meanwhile, in space, I would imagine that the UNSC fleet, it's nowhere near. Obviously, it was already outgunned, and that was 60% of the fleet, mind you, was at Reach. So it's already, again, it's going to be dwarfed by the orc fleet in space. But again, this isn't like your typical Imperium, where it's just, there is some tactic, I would imagine that, the UNSC ships could probably hold their own against Orc ships, but it would probably take a good chunk out of them, out of the Armada to do so. So yeah, I think it's actually highly plausible that Reach, if it was Orcs at Reach's door, it's probably going to get fucked up, don't get me wrong, but I could easily see the UNSC holding their own against the Orcs, and maybe even fighting them, or at the bare minimum, holding out long enough to drive Gazgathol crazy, to be like, this ain't no fight! Oh, I hate standstills, go somewhere else, lads. Yeah, there you go. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be? Could Reach repel an Orc invasion, an Orc WAAAGH? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.